The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
The New York Jets offense apparently had their worst day of the summer. We'll talk about what went down and where we go from here. It's the Jake Asman Show. Antwan Staley from the New York Daily News is going to join us, so let's hit it and get it started. Man, our Jets are primed for a historic season.
We're here with Charles Gorman. Charles, you're about to get into your Uber, which I called for you specifically to leave Don Jose Mexican restaurant. Give us the breakdown on the night. Did you have fun?
I had a good time, Paul. I'm sorry I couldn't stay for long. My parents wanted me to be home at a certain time. I know I'm a grown-ass man, but their house, their rules. People were very nice. The food is good. Anyways, have a good day and stay healthy and God bless.
Charles, thank you for the time.
Welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, there he goes. Charles Gorman, everybody. One of one. A legend of our time. Go Jets.
We bleed Jets green each and every day. This is not the same old Jets. We have Aaron freaking Rodgers. We have Garrett Wilson. Let's go. We have Breece Hall. Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. We have Sauce Gardner. We have Quinnen Williams. The Jets bandwagon is loaded. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show. Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. Before we bring on today's guest, a reminder that the Jake Asman merch store is open. So if you want a hoodie in black, in white, in green, in gray, if you want any item in the merch store, head over to jakeasman.com/shop and get your merch today. And of course, a reminder, all Patreon members, you get 15% off on every item. Support me away from YouTube. Support me on Patreon. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show to sign up and get all the perks that come with being a Patreon subscriber, including access to our exclusive Discord channel. Joining us right now is someone who was at Jets camp earlier. He covers the team for the New York Daily News. Ladies and gentlemen, we bring on the great Antwan Staley. What's up, Antwan? Whoa, look at that hat.
I figured I had my Padres hat on, but I figured I for you I wear my special hat that you sent to me. So,
well, I appreciate you, man. It means a lot for you to support the show. You're always willing to come on. So my audience certainly appreciates it. I don't know if they're going to appreciate what you're about to break down, though. It feels like everything I was reading today was, man, the offense is terrible. I saw Robbie Sabo use the word grotesque to describe the offensive performance. What did you see out there? Break down what occurred at practice.
Just no rhythm, no sync, and it was just really across the board. I mean, Aaron wasn't good. The offensive line wasn't necessarily very good there. He overthrew some passes. It was just one stretch where Aaron had 6 out of 7 incompletions throughout practice, which is just uncharacteristic of him, how it's been going all year. Because, throughout the summer, they've had their bad practices or whatever throughout the course of, training camp, but never like this. Today was just, shocking on so many different levels. And, Robert Saleh, basically, he just kind of chalked it up to one. It was like heavy legs, especially after Carolina. And, they had the day off yesterday. And then 2, he said, basically it was a top 5 defense on the other side. And yeah, while that might be true, you definitely don't want to see that type of performance headed into, the last week of training camp. So a little bit concerned. I'm not necessarily saying it's time to push the panic button or anything, but, that's definitely not what you want to see with the season on coming up shortly.
I heard Aaron on Barton Hahn on ESPN New York, and he said, hey, today was actually really good because there's so many things that we now could go through and we could point out. And I think it's going to be awesome for us. Like today, I'm paraphrasing, but he even used the words like, this to me was one of like my favorite practices we've had all summer. Is there something to that, or is it just him as the quarterback trying to spin it positive after a tough day?
Probably a little bit of both. Two things can be true. I think he could basically have a positive spin, especially like, externally, like for all us to see, but also at the same time, I mean, it's some truth too. I mean, you can't always just have good days of practice because how do you grow and learn when you don't have those roadblocks? And you have to occasionally bump your head. That's how you get better in really anything, any walk of life. So I think it's definitely some truth to that there. And I think they're going to go back, look at the film, see what didn't work, which a lot of things definitely didn't work today, but then you rather it happen today, as opposed to week 1 or week 2 against the 49ers or Tennessee Titans. So it's a growing opportunity and a learning opportunity for the Jets moving forward, definitely for sure.
If you're watching the show live and at any point you have a question for Antwan to answer, super chat it in. It will cut the line and we will make sure that your question gets answered. Please hit the like button if you're just tuning in, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I did see, though, it looks like it was a positive day for Will McDonald, who, of course, had a nice sack in the game against Carolina on Saturday, Antwan. Your thoughts on what McDonald did today and what you've been seeing from him of late? It does kind of feel like he's playing a lot better from where he was at the beginning of camp.
Yeah, it really seems like he's taking, I won't say that next step, but just taking an upward trajectory in the last few weeks there. I mean, it's easy for your teammates and coaches to talk positive about you, because at least in the media, you're not necessarily going to say a whole lot, to down a player. But, they've talked about how Will is, he looks different. He's stronger. He's faster, all these superlatives. And then now we're starting to see all that come to fruition there. I think you kind of saw it a little bit against Carolina. You saw it a little bit against the Commanders too, although that was kind of a bogus penalty, at least for my estimation. I don't think that was a roughing the passer, but neither here or there. I mean, that's just kind of the rules how they are now. But you kind of saw it the first 2 preseason games. You saw it today too. Just the spin move there, just evading, the offensive linemen and things of that nature too. I think he's definitely making plays and it's being more consistent, and that's definitely what you want to see, especially after a guy that was taken in the first round, which was heavily criticized at the time. But he's definitely starting to look like he might have a really bounce back season, kind of like what Jermaine Johnson did last year with the Jets.
So it kind of segues perfectly to talk about the rest of this defensive line, because without Haason Reddick, what is this group that's replacing Bryce Huff, John Franklin Myers, Quentin Jefferson? What have you seen from this D-line room without Reddick, and your thoughts on what they are without the guy?
There's some question marks. There's certainly some question marks there. I know Robert Saleh said Barton Hahn that they feel like they have like 4 or 5 closures. I think that remains to be seen. You do have Quentin, you do have Jermaine, who I really do like there as well. But outside of that, there's still some big question marks. They're missing 20 sacks from a year ago, nearly 19 and a half to be exact. And then now you have Haason Reddick who's still holding out. And, without him, you're going to have to rely on Will McDonald. They do like Michael Clemens, but again, hadn't really seen a whole lot from him throughout the course of, preseason and training camp there to indicate that he's ready for that next jump. Whereas McDonald, it seems like he is, trending upwards. But yeah, they definitely got to know if Haason Reddick is there for week 1 or week 2 or throughout the course of the season. You definitely got to rely on these guys for that to fill in that production. Otherwise, yeah, it's going to be a huge question mark at least heading into the year.
Javon Kinlaw, Aaron Rodgers was raving about him on Barton Hahn today. Saleh said, quote, he's been unblockable at times this summer. Have you seen that from Kinlaw? What am I missing with Javon Kinlaw? I've been to 3 practices and he's made a couple plays here or there, but I haven't seen this unblockableness that Saleh was talking about.
Yeah, I hadn't seen all that either, but I definitely think he has made some plays there too, and I think he can help improve their run defense there. Last year they finished 25th in the league there. That was really a weak spot for the Jets if you want to look at their defensive side of the football there. And I definitely think him adding on the extra weight, the extra 30 pounds there can help inside too as well. You lose Quentin Jefferson there. I think that was a pretty big, loss, whether, doesn't get necessarily talked about enough, where you got a guy that can not only play on the end, but also play on the inside too as well. John Franklin Myers, the same thing. So you need a guy like Javon Kinlaw who can step up and, be that run stopper that the Jets sorely needed last year, and then they're definitely going to need this year.
As far as Reddick goes, where do things stand? At what point do you just say, well, he's not here by this date, there's just no chance of him actually going out there week 1 against the Niners and being an active player for this team?
I think we're getting close to that point now. We're probably about a week away from that point, because even if he comes in now, it's going to be like an acclimation period. I mean, as good as he is, and he is a veteran, he's been in the league there, but you have to understand that he's never been in this program before. This is new coaches, new scheme, new players that he's playing around. And, I think at the point now, if he does not report in a week, maybe you can use him as a situational pass rusher against San Francisco, but I don't think you could start him just because, he hasn't been there. He hadn't been in the trenches. He hadn't, again, he's been in the building one time since he's joined the Jets, and that was his introductory press conference, and he took his physical. That's it. So how can you rely on somebody that has only been in the building one time to give you any kind of production for week one? I think it's going to be hard to do that if he doesn't show up within these next 7 days.
So I want to read you a quote from Matthew Judon, who, of course, also wanted a new contract. He got traded, and to this point hasn't signed his new contract with the Falcons. He spoke earlier today to Atlanta reporters and was asked about his contract status, and he said, quote, "The Falcons don't know me as a football player. They know my history, so I can't demand something I haven't worked for." Said he's just working to put his best foot forward. At this point, doesn't appear to be a sticking point. I thought when they made that deal, the Jets were going to look bad because they would quickly hammer out terms to a new deal. That hasn't happened yet, so maybe I will look back and say, all right, well, Judon didn't get a new deal, so maybe the Jets are telling the truth with the Reddick stuff. What do you make of the difference between Reddick and Judon's situations, and what exactly the Jets could do to maybe get something done with Reddick to get him into camp?
Well, I read the comment. I read this quote, and then I was like, wow, that's definitely fascinating considering the fact that, Reddick, said one thing in his introductory press conference and pretty much, did the other when it comes to mandatory OTAs, mandatory minicamp. And, OTA is not really big of a deal, but didn't show up for mandatory minicamp. So, at that point, you was like, yeah, it's a good chance he's probably going to hold out or hold in, which I thought was a possibility there. I don't know what kind of advice he's gotten, but, I think what the Jets could do, again, sweeten the pot. I don't think they're going to sign him to an extension at this point because, again, he only been in the building one time. So how can you sit there and say, well, we're going to give this guy a contract extension, especially when you got all these contracts coming up next year where, Sauce Gardner's extension, possibly Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall if they wanted to. Michael Carter II it will be a free agent, DJ Reed. So you got a lot of contracts that's coming up in 2025. And then this guy has no rapport. A lot of his teammates don't even really know him. And then you're just going to reward him for that. I don't think that's necessarily in their best interest to do that. So I agree with Joe Douglas in that regard. I don't know if they should have made the trade because considering the fact that he had already asked the Eagles, for a trade because of the contract situation, but it's neither here or there. But to get him a incentive-laden contract to get him maybe at least, even out, especially with all the fines that they have, maybe that'll get him in the training camp a little bit sooner or get him, into Jets camp. But it's going to be hard, man. But especially considering, like I said, he has, it's a new situation for him.
To me, there's two angles to the Reddick stuff. There's the Jets shouldn't be in this position because they shouldn't have done the deal unless they had a contract done, or they should have just gave Jadeveon Clowney a little extra money and beat out the Panthers offer. Or we go back to Bryce Huff. They should have signed him a long time ago and he wouldn't be in the spot. But at this point, it is what it is. And I look at it like all the Jets could do, Antwan, is kind of how they're handling it right now. Would you agree that at this point, the best thing for the Jets is basically the stance they've had to take publicly against Reddick?
Sorry, I think you got some weather over here. So what did you say? What's the question again?
Basically, just with where the Jets are with their stance against Reddick, that's the only stance at this point they can take because the toothpaste is out of the tube. You can't put it back and do the trade over. Where we are now, this is all they kind of can do from this point going forward.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, again, you can get them an incentive-laden deal, but you're not going to give them a long-term deal. I mean, the Jets, they told Reddick that, we'll work with you if you show up to training camp. He chose not to. So now we're in this situation where we are. And basically where we are is they're not going to give him a deal when he's not showing up. And I don't blame him for that. I mean, you could blame Joe Douglas for making the trade, but again, kind of like what you said, it's done. It's over with, what can you do at this point? It's up, trying to find ways to get him in the trading camp. But you're not going to get a long-term deal. And I think, quite frankly, from the Jets' perspective, they want to see what 2024 is. They want to see if they make the playoffs or they're Super Bowl contenders. Because if they happen to not be, then you don't want to have a contract, to Reddick for the next couple of years, especially if you make a coaching change, you make possibly a general manager change, and you're making all these transitions within the organization. And especially for a guy that decided he wanted to hold out of training camp and also mandatory minicamp as well.
Big fella with a super chat. EJ, I see yours. We'll get to that next, but this is on topic here. It proves Judon has a better agent than Reddick. I mean, I don't know like the inner workings of that stuff, but at least from the outside perspective, Antwan, I feel like Reddick's agents have not given him good advice if their advice was for him to just not show up at all.
Yeah, that's what I said. Just hold in. He could have showed up. He could have held in. I feel like he would have got something done by now, whether it be, again, like they could have reworked this 1-year deal, or maybe they would have gave him a contract extension. Who knows? But just to sit there and just to hold out and not report was just a bad move on so many different levels. And you're losing money on top of it.
That is true. A lot of money at this point. I mean, man.
Exactly.
EJ with a super chat. Any worry Mike Williams won't be ready for week 1?
No, I think he's trended in that direction. Like he will be week 1. Right now, he will be utilized? That's the biggest question. I think it's going to have a bit of a pitch count, kind of like what happened to Breece Hall in week 1 a year ago against the Buffalo Bills. They're not going to use him for 60 snaps, but maybe you use him for 25 snaps a game, and maybe he gets you 3 or 4 catches. But just to have him on the field, especially opposite Garrett Williams, will be a huge thing.
Let's talk about this game on Saturday against the Giants, Antwan. Do you expect the Jets to play any starters in this one against the Giants?
I do not. I actually asked Saleh after the game, when it went into after the Panthers game, what went into the decision to play, Andrew Peasley and Adrian Martinez. And I think he kind of gave you a little bit of a hint on what they plan on doing and he ended up saying, well, next week we'll do we'll flip it in reverse and have Martinez play, a half, and then also Andrew Peasley played the second half. So I fully expect them to do the same thing, do that. And then, I think a lot of people are going to look at this, Monday's practice and say, well, maybe they should play. But, the fact of the matter is Aaron Rodgers is an older veteran. He doesn't necessarily take preseason seriously. I think he already said that, it's not real football. And, to that point, everything's really vanilla. And then also, you don't know who the Giants are going to put out there either. I mean, maybe they played a little bit of their starters, but do you really want Aaron Rodgers going up against, number 2 and number 3 players? Not really. I mean, what's that going to do? Especially when you have a joint practice on Wednesday that can, help, get him ready for the regular season. So I think for me, the best thing for all parties involved is just Aaron Rodgers not play on Saturday.
I guess my only thing would be if Aaron came to Saleh and was like, hey, for like the mental hurdle I want to get over, I want to be back out there at MetLife, go through a game where like I actually could get hit. That would be the only way I'd consider playing him. But like Aaron basically said, feels like he doesn't need it. It'd be a waste of his time. So if that's the case, then all right, don't play him.
Yeah, just roll into week 1 and then, get ready for that. But yeah, they'll have the joint practice against the Giants on Wednesday. And I think that'll be an indicator of kind of what this offense is.
I think that joint practice is going to be fascinating because of the matchups with really receivers versus corners on both sides, right? I think Garrett Wilson going up against Deonte Banks is intriguing. And then obviously Sauce getting the chance to cover Neighbors is going to be awesome. So that's what I'm excited to see. What are some of the things that intrigue you about the joint practice on Wednesday?
I just like, they occupy the same space. Like this is a very unique, I mean, they don't necessarily hate each other, but it's unique in the sense where, they live in the same area. They go to the same barbershops and restaurants and things like that's what makes this Giants and Jets joint practice and obviously, whenever they play in the regular season every 4 years, intriguing. So, yeah, I think from that perspective, that'd be interesting. And then looking at Daniel Jones, too. I mean, he's coming off a game where, he threw 2 interceptions, both of them really bad passes, and probably should have had a third one, too, obviously, in that game, if you look at one of the other plays, too, as well. And, he's basically, fighting for his, life, trying to continue to start for the Giants, too. I mean, it was a lot of whispers and talk that Drew Lock could eventually be the Giants starter there. I think, obviously Lock is hurt right now and not able to, make a case for him right now. But, Daniel Jones needs to play better and perform, especially against a, really tough Jets defense there. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how he performs there on Wednesday. As
far as the roster goes, Antwan, what roster battles are the most intriguing to you going into this kind of final week of training camp here?
I mean, it's not many. I think it's just really looking at the D line, just the depth of it there. I think you have a few guys there, like Eric Watts there, Leonard Taylor the third as well, Tack McKinley that are going for those last roster spots too, and then wide receiver. I mean, Jason Brownlee came off a game against the Carolina Panthers, which wasn't very good, to be quite honest with you. And then, I thought Malik Taylor had an opportunity to figure into that and fold it before he went on injury reserve too as well. And then, you have a lot of just kind of crowded wide receiver room right now. So again, how many wide receivers the Jets are gonna keep on their roster? And I think Herb Charles also figures out into that as well, because he has the ability to play special teams along with, I think he's made some plays as a wide receiver throughout the course of training camp. So that those two, the wide receiver, the lower end, the wide receiver, and definitely defensive line is definitely what I'm looking forward to.
Who do you think the two kickoff returners are if they had to make a decision now?
Well, let me preface by saying, like, they don't have to have two kickoff return guys. They can if they want to. Now, if they want to, then I think Malachi Corley is somebody they want to get the ball in his hands there. I think he will be factored in. And then obviously Xavier Gibson. You're definitely going to have him back there because we've seen, even though he made some mistakes as a rookie, as a returner last year, he has the explosive speed there. He can make anything happen in a blink of an eye.
What are your thoughts on the quarterback situation? I know we have Rodgers, you have Tyrod. You think they carry three? Do they only go with two and put either Peasley or Martinez in the practice squad? How does Jordan Travis factor in all this? Just your thoughts on that.
I think Travis is going to get a redshirt year because I think, when going back to OTA, Charlotte thought that he would be cleared by now. He's about to start a training camp. Obviously, that didn't happen. So now, do you put him on the roster and hope he can, get well enough for the season? Because let's face it, if Jordan Travis has to play any kind of snaps this year, the season is, it's a wash. It's not good at all. So, I think you're going to give him a bit of a red shirt type year. Hopefully he can get 100% healthy and then maybe just see what he can be next year, 2025. And, I think you're going to keep two quarterbacks with obviously Tyrod Taylor and Aaron Rodgers. And then, whoever wins the battle between Adrian Martinez and Peasley, you just keep them on the practice squad. And if for some reason, if injury were to occur, then you can bring them up pretty easily because I don't think anybody's going to put a claim out on them.
What to you have been like the big picture stuff watching this team this summer that has really stood out to you? You could go anywhere with this answer to the question, but you're there every day. You're watching these guys. You're talking to them behind the scenes. What was maybe a perception you had about this team that you have now either altered or maybe you have confirmed from watching them day in, day out?
Well, I think it's been a much quieter camp than it was a year ago. I think last year was just a lot of noise there. It was a lot going on. I mean, you had the Hall of Fame game, Hard Knocks, and then this team that really just didn't know how to necessarily handle all of that pressure. And obviously Aaron got hurt, and then, the season just kind of what it was. I think this year it's more of a business-like approach from this team. And I think you see it with Saleh being more of a CEO type of guy as opposed to last year and then the years past, okay, he's just a defensive guy that's not really as focused on the offense. Now he's basically watching the offense for the whole time and then letting Jeff Albrecht just trusting him with the defensive unit there. I don't know if it's because the defense has been very good the last few years or just, the fact that he just wants to have his hands in the cookie jar of all three of the units, including special teams, which all coaches should do. I mean, especially if my butt's on the line this year and I know I have to win, I better make sure that offense is tight too, and I want to know exactly what they're doing. So, I definitely see more of a business-like approach from Saleh and the Jets this year.
We got a super chat here from Rat Diddy who wants to know, Antwan, what are we hearing on Izzy's roster spot?
I think he's going to make the roster. We do this. We play this roster game each year, all of the reporters, and then we put our 53 man on there, and I had him on my roster too. And it seems like Saleh and the coaching staff really likes him. I think he benefited from Tariq Cohen retiring, and I think they kind of gave him a little bit more juice. And you see him making a little bit more plays as opposed to early on in the training camp. So I think he'll be the fourth running back, but I think he makes the team.
Dre checks in with a super chat for Antwan. Antwan, with all the talent on the Jets defense, specifically with the defensive line, will Brock Purdy be running for his life in week 1?
That remains to be seen. Well, we'll see. Again, I still have some questions about the defensive line there, especially if Reddick does not show up there. Can Will McDonald be a consistent pass rusher? And also, Michael Clemens. I know Jeff Albrecht ended up saying that he believes Michael Clemens is vying to be a 3-down player. I've yet to see that. I didn't see it necessarily against Carolina when they didn't play their starters. I didn't see it against the Commanders where he ended up missing the play, which led Jaden Daniels into the end zone for the touchdown on the zone read. So I still need to see some stuff from Michael Clemens to say that Brock Purdy is going to be running for his life in Week 1. But yeah, I think they're definitely going to put some pressure, try to put as much pressure on him as possible, and try to make him as comfortable as possible.
I don't know if you know this, Antwan, but Dre was actually the fan that ran into Aaron Rodgers in Tahoe before training camp.
Hey, Dre, what do you think about Brock Purdy?
He's going to die.
Dre has predicted that Brock Purdy's going to die on opening night. I just want you to know that.
That's great.
I guess we'll find out if the Reddick-less pass rush will make Dre look right. This is a super chat here from the big fella. Does Codrington make the squad with another good performance against the Giants?
I would be surprised because he is they're already stacked at cornerback anyway. But you never know. I mean, maybe they keep him as a returner and then just take away from another spot, maybe wide receiver or whatever the case may be. But I think he's a good developmental player that you can have on the practice squad and easily elevate him when the time comes there. But he's explosive. He's a weapon, definitely. As far as special teams, he was that in North Carolina Central. He did a lot of different things. They definitely asked him. The Eagles asked him to do a lot. Like not only just on special teams but defensively. So I definitely think that's somebody the Jets are definitely intrigued by.
It's interesting because if they do keep Codrington and he's just a pure special teams guy, you'd think, well, they can't keep Herb Charles and who's just a special teams guy then either, right? It would be one or the other.
Well, I think Charles has shown enough plays on the offensive end to say, he could play on the offense too. He's made some plays just catching the football, and he's definitely stood out during the course of training camp. So I don't think of him just as a special teams guy anymore, although he would play special teams as a gunner. But yeah, I think a guy like Codrington is definitely somebody that's very intriguing.
What are your thoughts on the rest of the division? Buffalo's dealing with some significant injuries. Milano is likely done for the season. That's a big loss. Miami is unknown, just given the fact, that when they played good teams last year, they obviously struggled, but they have a ton of talent there. New England feels like they're clearly the worst team in a rebuild mode. How do you feel about the rest of the division in comparison to the Jets?
I still think the division is Buffalo's until proven otherwise, because you still got the best quarterback and the coaching staff in the division. So I think could Miami or the Jets possibly win the division? Sure, I think I can make the case for both of them. But I'll say this: I think all three teams have question marks to overcome. I think with the Dolphins is more or less as you alluded to, can they beat good teams? Can Tua stay healthy? And I have questions defensively too. I mean, they changed defensive coordinators, going from Vic Fangio to Anthony Weaver. Also lost Christian Wilkins, Andrew Van Ginkel too, which I think was a big loss there. They feel like, just talking with some of the writers, they have improved their secondary. Again, that remains to be seen too. So, yeah, I think, you can make the case for all three of these teams winning the division. But for me, I'm still picking Buffalo. And then I think the Jets and Dolphins are going to fight it out for second place.
Jay wants to know, what does Underdog have as the over-under for number of fights at the joint practice? Are we going to get New York on New York crime this week, Antwan?
It's possible. I mean, if I'll say that if the Carolina joint practice was any indication, it's possible because, I will say that Saleh has, forbidding the players to fight, and then that didn't stop them from fighting against Carolina, which was a lot going on. It was very scrappy. I don't think it'll be as many fights as it was against the Panthers, but I wouldn't be surprised if it would at least to be one fight.
Antwan, where can people find you?
Antwan Staley, all social media platforms. It's pretty easy for me. And then nydailynews.com, you can find my articles and read them there.
And let's say this, if you want to be as cool as Antwan Staley, you have to go to jakeasman.com and buy that same hat. That is the black and silver snapback that our guy Antwan is rocking on the show today. So check that out, Jet fans, Asmaniacs, if you want the same hat that Antwan's wearing. Appreciate you joining us, my friend. I'm sure I'll see you in the coming weeks, and we'll definitely get you on throughout the season. Hopefully it's a fun one.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me on, Jay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Antwan Staley from the New York Daily News with us there. Hit the like button. Make sure you guys check out his work in the Daily News. And, of course, you heard him say where to find him on social media. Quick plug, reminder, best of episode 6 of the Jake Asman Show is live. It is real. It is spectacular. Check it out. If you are an official Asmaniac here on YouTube, you get a chance to watch it exclusively right now. We dropped it yesterday. The feedback has been off the charts. The hilarity speaks for itself. So here's what I'm going to do right now, because I love all of you. Give you guys a little clip from the best of, and then hopefully, if you're not an Asmaniac, you'll want to be one right after you watch this.
I didn't think I was going to get COVID.
You have COVID, Chiefs fan?
A symptom of COVID. I just feel like shit.
What symptom do you have?
Basically, you got the run syndrome. You're not feeling well. You're sleeping like a bear in hibernation, all that little stuff.
I don't know if that's COVID. That just sounds like you.
Well,
I think you'll be okay. Did you say you had the runs?
That's basically.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't.
Bobby, that's enough out of you, all right?
I did drink a shit ton. And you know, when you drink a shit ton, your immune system goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, Cheats fan. What a guy. Cheats fan wrote in the Discord that he'll be back to calling the show again in the coming days. He's been away, but he's coming back just in time for football. 3 weeks from now, Jets and the Niners on Monday night. Let's get to some of your calls right now on our Gustbuster Umbrella Hotline. We say hello to the great Bob in Vermont, who's up first today.
Hi, everybody. This is Bob from Vermont. I am Bob, of course.
Hello, Bob.
How you doing? I heard you missed me today.
Well, you were missed, Bob. You didn't call the first show.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry I didn't call the first show.
That's okay. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. We worry about you.
I know Nick called me today and told me you called him. Well, he called you.
Yeah.
For what he did for great old Jake Quest.
Changing
my name to Bobby's Left Nuts. Yeah, that was wonderful.
I got him a membership.
Yeah. It should have been something else, not my Bobby's Left Nuts.
Nice hat.
Hat.
I like it.
You gave it to me, remember?
How could I forget? It was like 2 weeks ago.
I think that guy's from Connecticut, isn't he?
Antwan?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. I think Antwan is from South Florida.
Oh, South Florida. Connecticut got bad ringing and stuff. You hear about Connecticut? What?
No, I didn't. I don't really care.
You got Oxford, Connecticut got poured on yesterday.
All right.
Remember, he brought up the storm he was having?
Yeah, but he's in Jersey, not Connecticut.
Okay, well, I didn't know. You said Florida.
No, that's where he's from. That's not where he currently resides.
Oh, he lives in New Jersey now. Gotcha.
Can we move on? I'll never get back the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, you have a great day.
That's it? We're done?
Yes, I go on live after your show.
All right.
Yep. I'll see you soon.
All right. Thanks for the time, Bob.
Okay, bye.
Goodbye.
Well, you know, I need to find Matt O'Leary. He's supposed to come on my show. I want his butt on a stick. Bobby.
What a call from Bob in Vermont. Some super chats to get into here. Ladies and gentlemen, Ali checks in, tuning in from Germany. Jets. Jets. Let's go, Ali. What brings you to Germany? Hopefully you made it there safe and sound. Appreciate you for coming in and supporting the show. Dre checks in with a super chat for the people. With Garrett having back-to-back 1,000 seasons with a Traficona quarterback, with Aaron at quarterback, can number 5 set the single-season touchdown mark with 28 touchdowns this year? Dre, I'm guessing this was for Antwan. Unfortunately, you submitted this after Antwan was already off the show, so I couldn't bring it up to him. So I could relay the message to him. I'm guessing Antwan would not say Garrett's going to have 28 touchdowns this year. But I hope he does. Purple Belt Mike is up next. What's up, Mike?
Yo, what's up, Jake?
Hello, Mike.
I got a merch question.
Yes, sir.
You think we can get a green polo?
A green polo? I do think we can. And what if I were to tell you it's in the works?
Hell yeah. All right, cool.
It's coming.
As far as with the Jets, do you think that Judon was taking shots at Reddick with that tweet?
I think he was just getting better advice because he saw how the Reddick situation was playing out. I don't think he was taking shots at him.
I kind of feel like Judon hates the Jets, so he's taking a shot at us a little bit.
I don't think it's that at all. I think he just realizes he's a couple years older than Reddick. He's going to a better team, right? And I think he just got good advice. Hey, show up, be a good teammate, and we'll work on your contract. I think that's what Reddick got too. Only one person is handling it one way, another person is handling it the other.
Maybe Reddick will change his mind knowing that he's getting just roasted by NFL fans. If you look at the comments from like the tweets, NFL fans are just roasting Reddick. So maybe he'll and his agent will wake up.
I hope. At this point, though, he seems pretty dug in.
If he is it like guarantee you think that he's not going to play week 1?
If he doesn't show up, what date you're asking about?
After the scrimmage.
I mean, if he doesn't show up Wednesday, I mean, I think if he's there, I think if he shows up 1 week from now, he's good to go for week 1.
So
I think he has till the Monday after the Giants game, which is Saturday.
So a week of practice, then he's good. If not, then he'll sit.
If he shows up 1 week from today, he would have essentially 2 weeks of practice. I think by then he would maybe not be a 100% like every down participant like he will be eventually, but he will at least be able to give you 30% of the snaps, I think, in week 1.
All right. I'm worried about it because I don't think we're going to beat San Fran without him. I just don't think we are.
I think they could win without him. It makes it harder, though. I mean, he's a really good player.
I feel like with him, it's a much easier. And then after that, the next 3-4 games, he won't make a difference because we'll win those. But that first game, and to really make a statement, I think we need him.
Yeah, it's totally fair. Because here's the other thing too. Niners right now, do they have Trent Williams? Like if they don't, all of a sudden you had Reddick, then you could really wreck the game. And you could say, oh, well, they don't have Trent Williams. We still could have a good pass rush, but like you could dominate the game. I don't know. You want the guy. You want him on your team. He makes you better. You hope he plays. It's as simple as that. Tyrone checks in with a super chat. Super chats will cut the line. Make sure you guys turn on gift receipts. I could smell rain in the air. Smells like it might rain memberships at any given point in time. Our run game will be our greatest defense by keeping other teams' offenses on the sidelines. Go Jets. I do believe the Jets' offense in general, specifically the ability they have now to run the damn ball, will carry a lot of weight and help the defense stay fresh. I completely agree with that. David says 30% of 60 snaps is 18. You think Reddick would play that much with only a week or two of practice? I do. If he has 2 weeks of practice, David, I think he can give you 18 snaps. I do believe that. Remember, Nick Bosa did like the same thing. Revis had like 2 weeks of practice too. He played opening night in 2010. Veteran players, they don't need as much time. More of your calls coming up. Please hit the like button if you're tuned in. We got 370 of you watching the show live. So shout out to all the Asmaniacs for the support. Sonny says, third show today, Jake. Awesome. So this is my second Jake Asman Jet show, and I released episode 2 of the Jake Asman football show earlier today, which is a new project I'm working on where I talk about the entire NFL and not just the Jets. They're shorter shows. The one today I think was 24 minutes. But I just went through a list that ESPN had, Mike Greenberg, put together of the 5 coaches on the hot seat. So I gave you that list, and then I gave you my own and gave you some thoughts on each coach. So check that out if you want more football talk, because that will be a regular part of the channel moving forward, the Jake Asman Football Show. You'll be able to tell when it's the Jake Asman Football Show because we have a different logo for the Jake Asman Football Show. Different layout. It looks like this, as you can see on your screen right now. So that's the Jake Asman Football Show. The normal Jake Asman Show will be unaffected as we will continue with our usual 2 streams a day, Monday through Friday, and a post-game show, of course, after every game. John LG writes in, conspiracy theory number 1. they're making the offense look bad in practice in order to have an excuse to play them 1 or 2 series in the Giants game. Huh. It's an interesting conspiracy, but one I do not think is the case. John checks in. Or excuse me, Oscar the Grouch checks in. Jake, did Scott go to prison? He hasn't been on in a while. To my knowledge, Scott is not in prison, but he has not called the show in a while. You're not wrong. Peter checks in. Shout out to Peter, who came out to our big Asmaniac watch party on Saturday. Doesn't Gary hate Braylon Allen because he's not from Texas? He might. He absolutely might. More of your calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for you to sing along.
B-Mac, look at my TV. B-Mac, I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets, go Jets.
B-Mac, hello.
Hey, Jake. Good afternoon. I just want to ask, do I have to send you my address to get the Asmania stuff? Like the last time we used to be the Rodgers jersey, or I got you something.
B-Mac, your internet was horrific there. What were you saying?
I'm sorry. I gotta get this.
Move the mic. It's the microphone. The microphone is terrible.
Oh. Is that good?
No, it's actually not. That actually didn't work.
You can still hear me?
Yes.
Is this that good?
Just make your point as quickly as you can. We'll make it work.
All right. Yeah. I just want to I've been wanting to get the to get the Asmaniac deal. Do I gotta send you my address, or how do I make that happen?
You can just go to jakeasman.com.
Okay, and I can get it from there.
Yeah, you don't need to send me anything. You can just go to jakeasman.com and pick whatever you want.
All right. Well, I'm gonna make it quick because of my choppy internet. Love you, and
B-Mac, we love you too.
B-Mac, hey you hater guy, Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Now that was a phone call, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, more calls. Ted in Florida is up next. We call him NY Jets Florida. Hello, Ted.
How you been, Jake? Been a few
What's up, man?
days. I've been a little under the weather. I've been doing a Chiefs fan without the runs. So, but I'm good now.
That's good.
Let me ask you a question. So, if we make a run into the playoffs, possibly win a Super Bowl for the next 2 years, at least maybe one. Salah and JD stay. Can we continue to build a good young talent and add a quarterback? A seasoned quarterback every 2 to 4 years to make a run. Is that even realistic? Do teams? I mean, I see it here and there, but can we do something like that? Or do we
Not
have to
really.
go back
I mean, how often does a great veteran quarterback become available? It's very rare,
Well, if I'll give you an example. If Josh Allen doesn't win in Buffalo, and he sees the Jets winning a championship, would he want to waste his career there? Maybe he wouldn't. Or somebody like
find me the guy who left when they're still in the prime of their career, who's really good. That level of quarterback.
He would be 30. Okay,
he's still in the prime of his career.
No, I know. I'm just giving you a hypothetical. So you don't agree? You don't agree then?
I mean, I think the level of quarterback you would need to win a championship doesn't just become available in free agency or trade. It's very rare. Like, think of the quarterbacks that have been dealt.
Well, I'm thinking more or less if you become a winning franchise now, and that you could just add a quarterback, like a Kirk Cousins or somebody better maybe than that, But I get it. I understand. Quarterbacks are hard to come by. Do you really think Michael Clemens is a starter, Jake? That's kind of my main point. I think he should practically be cut at this point. There's no upside to him, really.
I don't think he should be cut. I don't think he's like a great player or anything. I think he's kind of just a guy. I'd like to see Tack McKinley get more opportunities.
I agree. Do you think he's more of a liability though? I mean, I just there's no upside. We've seen his ceiling, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know how much more he's going to develop.
I don't know if we've seen his ceiling necessarily, right? Like last year they asked him to gain weight to play him inside more. This year he's lost weight to go back to being more of a pure defensive end. He's had some moments based on what the coaches have said. But I don't look at him like they could get by without Reddick and just have Clemens. Like you really need Will McDonald to take a big step forward. Like that's what they're banking on.
Which I think they plan on that. Jake, what do you think? You think after week 4 or 5, if Reddick doesn't show up, I mean, is there a point where he will not show up? Like, say this kind of lingers into the season, we say we win San Francisco. That's kind of irrelevant. Well, it's relevant, but not. Like, our schedule lightens up. So say we're 4-1 or something like that. I mean, will he feel the heat in his heels to come in finally, or will it not matter at that point? Or
well, he has to show up to get paid, right? Like if he doesn't show up all year, his contract tolls over and it's a death sentence,
Right. I don't know who's going to buckle first, really. You would think he would by now, but the longer it goes, the more I just don't see it happening, It's crazy to think about, but what are you going to do? You're going to have to just, like I said a few weeks ago, to go to plan B and then hope we have enough development on the team, which I have a lot of faith. I have a lot more faith in Salah's development of players and his coaching, but his coaching needs to be determined too. That's kind of an incomplete grade at this point.
Gotta win this year. I mean, that's the only way Salah can survive, right? I think he's proven he can coach defense. I think the players have buy-in from him. I think that he has all the ingredients to be a successful coach. He just needs competency at quarterback, which he finally has, so there's no excuse.
Jake, what do you think? One more question. What do you think a fair number is for Reddick? I mean, you think 20? You think he was offered 20 and he laughed at it? Or, what do you think is a fair number at this point for him to even think about coming in?
At this point, I don't know, because I would have thought you could find a way to get his salary from 14.5 to around 20 guaranteed, and that would get it done. But I've heard from some people, if it was that easy, it would have been done by now. So if he's still asking for multi-years, I don't think the Jets are going to do that.
I agree. Thanks, Jake. As always, you have a good one.
Ted, appreciate you, man. Hope you feel better. Hit the like button if you're tuning in. David says, Jake, I call in when I have something original to say. If I'd call in now, I'd just be showing up swag. Well, I'll tell you what, David. Anytime you want to show off some swag from the Jake Asman merch store, you're more than welcome to. Appreciate you and everyone who supports us by buying merch from the store. Ladies and gentlemen, buckle up for this next call. For the first time since he was the biggest star in the building at the Asmaniac meetup on Saturday night, the great V-Man has called in.
It's time for another V-Man call. Hopefully he's not sleeping. Adios mio.
Hey, Jake, what's up?
V-Man, how you doing?
I thought I'd wait for you because I was going to break in your bottle opener.
Uh-oh. V-Man got on the choppy internet. Oh, you're breaking in the bottle. You're breaking in the bottle opener. Show the bottle opener again to the camera because no one saw it. There it is. The Asmaniac bottle opener, folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There it is.
That's good. Yeah, no, so how about, so I heard that we had a sloppy practice today from the Jets.
Offensively, yes. It's almost like V-Man, they were falling asleep.
That's good, yeah, no. Well, it happens. They had more good than bad, so look, it's bound to happen. So let's not worry about it too much. These guys are we have a lot of talent on this team. Everybody has a rough day, and you just dust your pants off and you get back to it the next day. That's all they can do. That's all they got to worry about. On the Reddick stuff, look, we've seen all this. It's dragging on. I have no idea when it's going to end, but eventually someone's going to blink. It's just a question of who is going to blink.
Eventually, I think Reddick's camp has to blink because he's got to get paid. But doesn't mean in the short term it's not going to hurt the Jets and potentially cost them a chance to win Monday night.
I hope not, because Lucy's scared. The Thunder's freaking her out.
V-Man, did you enjoy watching the game on Saturday with me? I mean, this is, to me, the photo of the whole night.
Yes, I did.
Who was your favorite person that you interacted with?
Who was that? It's Cynthia, because I liked her because it was that Cynthia's because she laughed at when in the live stream before the event. She laughed at how I used the word bonchinche. She found it charming that I used the word bonchinche, which is Puerto Rican slang for gossip. And I also like the fact that she also, like me, is very well informed about Puerto Rico. She also, like me, gets involved with a little bit of Puerto Rican activism, which
now Cynthia's the one who took this picture, V-Man.
Yeah, no,
so
it was great.
We owe it to her.
Yeah. No, it was great. I recommended her a good book to read if she wanted to read up some stuff on it, and honestly, I had a great time. Great time being all you. Although I was impressed that Dominican guy came in, busted leg. He still got himself out there.
Asman, baby. Shout out to Asman on crutches, making it to
the
watch party.
Give him props. Yeah, no, that is intense. Like to get there on, like you got one leg and you're getting yourself out there. That takes dedication. Not many people would do that.
Mr. Bonesy checks in. Jake asked V-Man if our hug meant as much to him as it meant to me.
Yeah, no, that was a great hug. That was a damn good hug.
I'm happy to hear it.
Well,
now, what are your thoughts on the allegations that you stiff-armed Carly? Also, never wear these headphones again. Your internet is horrendous. I hate these headphones. Take them off.
All right, I promise next year I'll take them off. Hold on, let me see. I'll just see it. Is that better?
Yeah, my God. Now I don't, my ears aren't bleeding as much.
Yeah, no. Hold on, let me just raise up my volume because I can't hear you very well. Hold on. Yeah, no, now I can hear you better. Let's see if I can hear you better. Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, we hear you.
All right, good. Yeah. Well, for some reason you're super very muted to me, so.
Did you stiff arm Carly? Many people are asking.
I don't remember that. Then again, I had a lot to drink. Generally, that's more than I normally drink. I'll say that much. So I don't have any memory of that.
Nah. Blacked out V-Man is what we had at the Asmaniac watch party. It sounds like.
Hey, you're only in your 20s once.
V-Man, hope you get some rest tonight, all right?
All right, peace.
Thank you, V-Man.
I mean, honestly, Jake just hung up on me, and honestly, I'm going to go back to sleep.
What a moment in time with Vincent at the first ever Asmaniac watch party on Saturday. V-Man, a big hit. He had to come out of his shell a little bit. I think the moment was a little overwhelming at first, right? He's not used to 50 people coming up to him asking for pictures. That's what happened. More calls right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we go to Scott, who's up next. What's up, Scott?
What's going on?
Scott,
I think I just added myself.
You just doxed yourself. This is not Scott O'Keefe.
What's going on? I was having some problems with the link. It's all right.
This is Kyle Clifton. Everyone look away.
Don't look at me. I'm hideous. So
hold on. I changed it back. You're good. Everyone can forget this happened.
Not a big deal today. The bad practice. It's going to happen to the best of them, and certainly Rodgers is that. I'm not too concerned about it. If it was to snowball and there was a couple more, I'd be a little bit more upset. Do not kick that water over. That's little Miss Clifton who's threatening to mug to the camera. So I mean, I think by this point of camp, it's the routine fatigue. It's what you kind of expect from the offense and possibly even the defense on some days. But we're not surprised that the defense is ahead of our offense. The defense has been in the system for 3 or 4 years now.
Yep.
It's not anything to get too terribly excited about. Let's see in the next few days whether Reddick can actually report and we can right the ship.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is going to happen. Jets have an elite defense, and anytime they've had a bad practice, the next practice they play great. So I'm excited to see what they do tomorrow with the fans in the house, by the way.
Thanks for your time, Jake. I appreciate it.
Kyle, great call. I don't know who this Scott character is. I mean, it was Kyle Clifton the whole time. Ladies and gentlemen, I knew I smelt rain. I knew it. I freaking knew it.
Get your ass off my super chats. Some of these are gifted memberships too.
Hey.
The hell with it.
Not just any type of rain, folks. A Sprague spree type of rain.
I am the master of the Sprague spree. Take this, Jake, you little bitch.
Oh, my goodness, folks. You know what it means. We get 20 memberships, and I got to go get my umbrella. Because it's raining, baby. Here we go, folks. Here we go. You know what? I don't need these headphones right now. I know it's raining. Here we go. Gustbuster umbrella is out. We got 20 names to read. El Bupo, A Greasy Hobo, Effin' Jets for Life, MC3, Jordan Victor, Merklo26, Funky Monk, Ellie, Zog Papanera, J Sid, Jet fan since birth, Aria Schneiken, Kyle, Titan, Zaire Cooper, New York Jets Girl 11, Drew Baumgrades, Snowman, Multimedia, and Jenks, all receiving a channel membership. Once again, William Sprague coming through to support me and the members of this channel. Shout out to the great William Sprague. One more time.
I am the master of the Sprague spree. Take this, Jake, you little bitch.
Shout out to William, man. Shout out to William for making it rain. Wow. 20 members added just like that. Best listeners in sports. Hit the like button for William Sprague. If you didn't get a membership, make sure you turn gift receipts on. If you're wondering how YouTube decides who gets the memberships, you got to like the video. You got to subscribe to the channel. And you got to watch because it rewards the people who watch the show the most. Let's see. How is Peter not a member? Peter's been to both the events we've done in the last 2 weeks. If you're the listener who gives Peter a membership, any item in the merch store, we send to you. All right? That easy. Lane Train. He checks in. Can the Jets win next week? Lane, if you mean this week, I think they can. If you mean next week, probably not because they don't have a game next week. But this Saturday they do. So if that's the game you mean, boom. Snowman says, what's up, Jake the Snake? Thanks for the membership. Don't thank me. Thank William Sprague. Lane wants to know, what team do the Jets play next week? They play the Jets. The Jets will play the Jets. Nothing like it. Nothing like it. A lot of people reacting to the V-Man call I see in the chat here. Tito says, anybody going to the Jets versus Titans game on here? Tito, if you want to connect with my listeners who are going, get in my Discord channel. We got a bunch who are going, who are planning meetups. So check that out. Because it's going to be wild. To get into the Discord, you join the Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. A huge shout out to Terrence Hill and Chuck W., who are our two most recent Patreon members. If you sign up for the year on Patreon, you save 15%. So I highly recommend that. Tom wants to know, Jake, will you watch the game? Lane asking. Yes. Yes, I will. Will you watch the game, Tom? Lane is asking you now. Dom checks in with an Asmaniac super chat. Jake, what's your prediction on the last three guys to make the final 53? Man, this is such a great question, Dom. I think they're going to keep Izzy. So Izzy's one of them. I think they go with 4 running backs. I think Codrington's going to make the team. And Herb Charles won't. But I don't know who the last guy would be like. Can they find a spot for Leonard Taylor? Is Cole Laveo? If they go with maybe 10 offensive linemen? It's so tough. I don't have it in front of me what it looks like. So I gave you a couple names that I think will be on the team that I know are right on the roster bubble. Thanks for watching, Dom. Carly says, I can't watch the game unless I'm surrounded by Asmaniacs at T-Squared. Carly wants to go sleep with V-Man again. Look at this. Sleeping with V-Man. That sounds wrong, actually, how I worded that. You know what? I'm going to do this to myself.
Calm your freaky down.
Sleeping on V-Man? Now, that would have worked a little better, I guess. But still probably not great. Not good. Quote Boy Green. Purple Belt Mike writes in, Lane wants to know if you are AI Jake. I am not. JJ says, how does William not have a sticker? William Sprague is not an Asmaniac? Someone gift that man a membership if that's true. William, make sure you turn on gift receipts. We're going to rectify this. Sco writes in, when is the next party meetup? Sco, I can't confirm anything yet, but let's just say that we are in serious talks to finalize something this week for week 1 for the Niners game. So we're going to get something cooking. And I will have more info hopefully by the end of this week. Dave says, a lot of memberships have expired today. Today was probably a big membership day a month ago then. Big fella with a super chat. Cut Glazer and keep Laveo. I think Laveo is probably going to make the team if I had to guess right now. I mean, he could play a bunch of positions. He was out there the entire time. We'll see. Thomas says, funny how everyone cheered when V-Man walked in. Oh, when V-Man walked in and I gave a ladies and gentlemen V-Man. I mean, it was wild. Peter says, T-Squared is awesome and has great drinks and wings. Yeah, I heard I didn't get to try the wings myself because I was so busy running around talking to everyone, but I heard the wings were excellent. I know they had a special on wings during the watch party. They were a couple dollars off than normal. So we got food and drink specials. Now the drinks, on the other hand, I definitely tried those. All right. I tried all the drinks that T-Squared had to offer on our specialty Asmaniac drink menu. So it was great. Purple Belt Mike, what's the record for memberships in the show? 420 on Keith Best Day. That will never be beat. Mr. Bonesy says, Jake, when V-Man walked in, the bartender thought the Jets scored a touchdown. It basically was the same thing, Mr. Bonesy, because we got no touchdowns in the actual game. The loudest chants of the night were V-Man walking in, Aaron Rodgers being interviewed, and all of us chanting, Aaron Rodgers, and Garrett being interviewed. Those are the 3 loudest chants of the night. Not including before the game started. And just to get the crowd going, I went up on Nick Shine's shoulders to do this. Let's go! Yeah, buddy. William Sprague super chats us. My membership expired. Go to renew. William, let's get you a gifted membership, man. Come on now. Jeff Life. Jake, you looked worried up there. Well, you don't want to fall off Nick Shine's shoulders at the beginning of the night. But no, I was in good hands. Peter says the TVs everywhere were splendid as well. Look, T-Square did a great job. It's a great venue. It's a central location. Easy to get to for everyone who wants to come out. I look forward to doing more there. Stay tuned for that. Can't announce anything till it's official, but it's in the works. Joe Mike says, is he not making the team even though he ran hard? He still wasn't impressive in game 2. I think he is going to make the team. I think they're going to carry 4 running backs. He's the 4th running back. Robert C. says they should call them Jets wings to differentiate them from Buffalo wings. I don't hate that idea. It still would just be a Buffalo wing, though. I don't think you're going to be eating a green wing, Robert. Knob Deep says, did you try the Charles Gorman Hurricane Punch? 2 shots of wild turkey mixed with high C fruit punch and grenadine? No, I did not. Ladies and gentlemen, Craig Down Under is awake. Hit the Craig emoji. Steven checks in. We got to meet Steven in person on Saturday. It's so incredible. So many people were there for a preseason game. No starters on a Saturday night in New York City in the summer. What fans? As good as it gets. Steven, you know Jet fans, the best. I actually do think the Saturday night played into people being available because people can make a night of it, right? Going to New York for a night. It's an easy to get to location if you're coming from Jersey or Westchester or Long Island. People looking for a night out gives you an excuse to drink. So I actually think the Saturday night played a part, but just the fact that many were available in the summer, yeah, that's big time. And it's a preseason game. That's what makes the Asmaniacs the best. Matthias says, is there a link up to call into the show? Yes, it's pinned in the live section. Ladies and gentlemen, he did it the old-fashioned way. William, send me your address after the show. Message me on the Discord or Patreon. And let's get you some merch, my man. Let's go. William Sprague, one of the best. Tito's right saying, last chance to get in if you want in on the call-in line. Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline, it remains open. Jake, are you going to the jersey burning week 3 of the Patriots game? Am I going to it? That's my tailgate, of course. L5. I'll be there. See you all there. My question to you, Tito, is are you going to it? Because I'll be there. Be there. T squared, huh? See what I did there? Dun dun. I don't know if I read the big fella one. Keep cut Glass or keep LeVeo. I think I did do this. I don't know if Glasser's spot is guaranteed. He was injured for a lot of camp. He just started practicing. We'll see how he looks. Could be a practice squad guy. Greg checks in. If it's between Codrington or Izzy, I take Codrington at this point. As far as what we've seen, Codrington has definitely done more, Greg, but Izzy plays more of a needed position, right? Codrington is like what, the 7th DB? So I don't know. Aaron says, how are the receivers going to look? Tough decisions there. I think it comes down to what they want to do with Herb Charles. I know Brownlee hasn't shown much. I still think he's making the team. I think the first 5 guys are pretty much set, right? Garrett, Mike Williams, Lazard, Corley, Gibson. After that, I think it's Brownlee, Charles, maybe just Brownlee, or maybe just Charles if he beats out Brownlee. I mean, Charles has done probably more than Brownlee. Big fella says, can JBC go more than 2 games without getting hurt? Tough. I mean, they don't think it's that serious, but guy was having a great camp. Be nice to get Michael Carter back at practice, by the way. He's still not practicing yet. Be nice to get him back out there. Hit the like button if you're just tuning in. Thanks to the 400 of you watching live right now. You guys are the best. Chef Life writes in, Will McDonald over under 8.5 sacks. I'd go under. I mean, what did Jermaine have last year? He had 7.5. I'd go under on Will. David says Brownlee dropped that pass was a disappointment. Yeah, he really hasn't done much in these 2 games. Well, that's not true. He had the touchdown in the first one, but he didn't play great in the most recent one. Big fella, JD needs to sign MC2 ASAP. I've been saying it. Tito checks in. Kinlaw going to have a big year next to Quinnen. He should. He should. Everyone who's played next to Quinnen the last 3 years has then gotten paid. Right? Rankins 2 years ago. Jefferson last year. Kinlaw's up next. VR checks in. Great night at T Squared, New York City, but now stuck in an airport. Oh, VR, I'm sorry. Tough. Dave checks in. How is Dave not a channel member? Let's rectify that. Pat's offensive line is downright offensive. Reports coming out about their line frightening for them. Good. They suck. Jets should wreck them. Delvis says, do we believe week 1 is the line in the sand for Reddick? I do think he shows up like right before week 1, so he could try and get his game check for that week, but he's not going to play week 1. That's personally where I'm at right now. But we'll see. Dave says, Douglas needs to sign Reddick first, or he might not get the opportunity to sign Michael Carter. I don't know if one necessarily has anything to do with the other. Dustbuster hotline is open. Last chance to get in. Ladies and gentlemen, we say hello to Matthias Morales. Hello, Matthias.
Hey, Jake, what's going on?
What's up, dude?
So I have a question. So who do you think out of all the New York coaches is going to win a championship first for New York? We got Tom Thibodeau, Aaron Boone. We have Robert Saleh, obviously, and we have Patrick Waugh for the Islanders. And these are all the teams that I'm referring to for a fan. I'm assuming you're an Islander fan, right? You're also a Yankee fan?
I am, yep.
Who do you think? Give it to me.
Well, I mean, Boone's the pick just based on the timeline of, like, he'd be the first to win it because of, like, the season ending before the other seasons you mentioned. But I mean, which team am I the most confident in winning? I think it might actually be Thibodeau and the Knicks, which is crazy, but I think it might actually be the Knicks. Now, I could say Salah, but like the AFC is so good, it's just so hard to win. I don't know. I feel like the Knicks are a little closer. Like the Knicks to me are a top 4 team in the NBA right now. The Jets could be, but we don't know yet. So I think the safe answer might be the Knicks, as crazy as that is.
And I think what's true, I agree. And I also think what's crazy is with the Jets and the Knicks, if both teams stay healthy, we have a chance. They have a chance to make a big run, to really be dominant in their respective divisions, and to really try to go for a championship. I think Aaron Boone. I don't know, Jake. As a Yankees fan like yourself, I just don't trust Boone. I really don't when it comes to managerial skills. I think he's a puppet in terms of what Cashman wants him to do. And I really just don't think, just based on what he's been doing, especially that blown lead by Clay Holmes against the Tigers last night, was god awful. I mean, it was.
That's not Boone though. That's the problem with why it's tough to believe in the Yankees. You don't trust who's closing games for them.
No, that's true. But I just don't trust the way he just sets up the roster, the way he makes some of his decisions when it comes to the games. It's very questionable at best. When I look at some of these top managers, I mean, hey, I even hate Alex Cora as much as I hate him. And as bad as the Red Sox are, at least he's trying to stay competitive with the Red Sox. Like, based on what I'm looking at, even though they're six games back, to even try to make a chance of the wild card. But anyway, that was my talking point. So hopefully we have Reddick signed soon, Jake. I'm really hoping, and I still am confident that it is going to happen. But like I said, it really does look bad, though. I will say that when you have who was that pass rusher that just got traded to Atlanta?
Judon.
It was really bad. Did you see the press conference that quote that came out where he said
we talked about it earlier with Antwan Staley. We went through that. Yeah, I mean it is a bad look for the Reddick camp if Judon shows up, good teammate, ends up getting a deal, and the Jets are like, well, that's what you're supposed to do. Then we would have done something similar.
Exactly, but I can't, like you said, I can't trust. It's on the Jets and Joe Douglas for not trying to get a contract and not trying to be more aggressive and trying to talk to his agent and be like, what can we do to get done? It's really frustrating that we don't even know the terms of the deal of what was originally pushed for Reddick, and then he turned down. So we don't even know what we can say. But anyway, Jake, have a good one.
Matthias, I appreciate the call. That to me is what's been amazing about the Reddick thing. Your last point there, Matthias. We know the Jets made some sort of offer to Reddick before the deal. No one knows what that offer was. No one's reported it. How's that possible? I will say thank you, Matthew Judon, though. Rat Diddy's right. It gives the Jets more leverage. Like, this guy showed up to his new team. Why couldn't you, Haason? Jay Magner says, hello from Vermont, Jake. Vermont? Jay, do you know Bobby Midnight? Do you know our pal Robert Woodruff? Bob from Vermont, he's known as. Let us know, Jay. Ladies and gentlemen, off air right now, I see Bobby waving his arms. He wants to come on. Bobby, do you know Jay?
I don't know. Jay, what part of Vermont are you from? It depends on what part of Vermont he's from.
He wrote, no, he doesn't know you.
What part of Vermont are you from?
Who does number 2 work for?
I don't know. I'm from Brattleboro. Where are you from?
Waterbury.
Oh, that's way up. I don't know.
What's the problem with Waterbury?
It's way up there. It's not even close to Brown. It's like 2
Have you
hours
been there?
away. Yeah, but it's way up there. It's way up there. Come to call him. We could talk about Brown, Vermont.
I don't know if that's
Yeah.
very entertaining.
We had a big rainstorm just a little while ago.
He calls it the real Vermont, Bobby. Would you like to respond?
I don't know. Vermont stinks. I love New York.
How long have you lived in Vermont?
A long time. Person.
When are you
That's
moving back
7
to New
years.
York?
I know. I want to move to New York.
New York, Bobby Midnight. The
I'll
return.
I'll room in with you.
You're gonna room with me?
Yeah, you, me, and Carly Kirk all rooming together.
Whoa, hold on. We can't just be throwing Carly in this. What if I don't want her?
Well, you looking at the bar. You were like she was sleeping with you.
No, we were sleeping with V-Man. That sounded wrong. We were sleeping on V-Man.
Yeah, but she's sleeping on you. She's not sleeping on me.
Well, V-Man
Get it
wouldn't let
the other
let Carly get near him.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
your girl.
Mm.
But he's a nice guy. He wouldn't just that. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. I'm a fan of V-Man. I
I'm
enjoyed
a
watching the
fan.
game with him.
I'm a fan of you too. I like your shirt. I like this shirt. That's a Joe Namath shirt, right?
Oh yeah, Jersey.
Yeah. Back when is that the old one?
That's
old
the Namath era throwback jersey. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, Joe Namath. Yeah. I know 12, yeah. And the Giants gotta get their butts whipped on Saturday. They stink. Yeah.
I don't know about that.
What? The Giants? Look at Daniel Jones this Saturday. It was depressing.
Yeah, but I don't know if the Jets are going to play any of their starters on Saturday. It could be an
I
ugly
don't think
preseason
the
game.
Giants are either. They play Minnesota opening day. The Giants. Do you think we have a shot against Minnesota?
Yeah, Sam Darnold is not any good. So it's a
No.
pretty even quarterback matchup.
Oh yeah, because our Daniel Jones is not a good quarterback. Imagine if Drew Lock starts. I don't know if he's.
Imagine.
Yeah, imagine.
All
but
the people.
all the people. What?
I was singing like you.
Oh. I don't know what song you singing.
You ever hear the song by the Beatles?
Oh yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
You know who died today?
Who died?
Bill Donahue.
Oh, I saw that. R.I.P.
Yeah, you know who his wife was?
Mrs. Donahue?
No, Marlo Thomas.
Ah,
She was on That Girl. You ever watch That Girl?
I haven't seen it now.
I know your dad and mom watched that show, That Girl.
You're making a lot of assumptions during this call.
Well, there's 70. That's a 70 show. They must have watched it.
Mm.
I watched it when I was growing up. That girl. She comes from Connecticut all the way to New York to work in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And the boyfriend, funny guy,
Yep.
got his name. All right, so it's been a good day for you. Sprague was
Another assumption. How do you know I've had a good day?
Craig was very nice to you today. Sprague.
William Sprague? We love William.
Sprague gave you 20 memberships. That was nice to him.
Mm-hmm.
He's a great guy. Where's
He
he
is.
from? Park too. Is he New York, New Jersey?
I don't know.
I don't know yet. I'm not.
Why do you always want to know where everyone's from?
Because I like people. I'm interested in people. If I don't care about you, I wouldn't ask you the question.
So
Like,
the telltale sign to figure out whether or not you like someone is if you ask or don't ask where they're from.
Uh-oh, thunder and lightning. Oh,
Uh-oh. Are you going to sing the Thunder song?
oh. It's Raymond. Hallelujah.
That's
That's
not what I was thinking. No.
Oh, what's on the...
Have you seen the movie Ted?
Yeah, Ted.
Yeah. That
Oh
song.
my God.
Yeah, you can't
You
sing
ever
that
see
one.
it on Peacock? You ever see the TV show on Peacock?
I have. Yeah, it was very funny.
Oh my God, Ted is crazy. I love Ted.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if you had Teddy Bear like that, man.
I can't.
I know. He was in the movie. He was in the store. That scene was crazy, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how they come up. I don't. All
All
right.
right, Bob. I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thank you. Bye.
You got it.
Oh, you know I like the Yankees and the Jets. Can't believe Jake and Rodgers met. I'm more than just a hat on Bobby.
Thanks for the call, Bobby. Continuing with your calls right now. Big Green's on the line. Hello, Big Green.
Hey, Jake, how you doing?
Hello, Big Green.
Oh, yeah, sorry, can't really be looking. I'm kind of driving at the moment, but so I saw your video. What? Aaron didn't have a good day of practice. I haven't heard anything about the Jets all day today. So
Yeah, it was a bad day for the offense. Their
Report me
worst of
what's
the
going
summer.
on.
Big Green, I'm going to let you go because the internet was rough. So let's bring on a guy who always has great internet and no phone connection issues. We say hello to JJ. Hello, JJ.
I don't know what it is with these guys and their phone isn't connecting or whatever the case may be. They got to get it together, man. This is a big time show right now. Like, I don't know what's going on.
JJ, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Real quick, I don't know why it's such a debate. I think Aaron Rodgers should play in the Giants game. And I'm not saying playing for the whole first quarter, but give him one, maybe, or not one, give him maybe 2 or 3 drives. Let him get knocked off the rust before we go into San Francisco. If you put him behind the starting offensive line, if let's say you don't want Tyron Smith to play, so you put what's this guy's name? Fashan? How do you say it?
Fashanu, yep.
Yeah, you put him out left tackle. That's fine if you don't want Tyron Smith to play, but let the rest of the starting O-line play and put him out there so he can get the rust off. I mean, these practices, they become redundant because you're playing the same defense. You're seeing the same defensive scheme. And I know they're going to play the Giants and they're going to have a joint practice with the Giants, but it's not live. You know what I mean? So you got to let him go out there, maybe take a tackle, see how he feels. And the biggest thing is, too, like the Jets don't practice on turf. They practice on real grass. So I don't want the first time, Aaron Rodgers goes out on the field to be Thursday night against the Patriots on that turf, and he hasn't been on it all since the last time he tore his Achilles. I want him to go out during preseason, warm up with the team, get out there for 2 or 3 drives, and play some football. And I went back to look at it, and I saw Tom Brady played in pretty much every preseason, at least 1 to 2 games, besides his first season in Tampa Bay. But other than that, he played every year in the preseason. These guys can protect themselves. They're not dumb. Aaron Rodgers is not going to be out there like Russell Wilson taking sacks for no reason, trying to extend plays in the preseason. He's going to get the ball out quick. He's going to know, he's going to be able to – the best thing about him being out there, he's going to be able to set the protection, see where the blitz is coming from. So at the end of the day, let him play. Like, it's starting to annoy me that, I think he said something along the lines today of he's going to try to convince Robert Saleh to let him play. And I'm like, just let the guy play. I got so mad when Robert Saleh said, we're going to flip the roles with Martinez and Peasley next week. And I was like, no, please don't do that. Give Aaron Rodgers the first quarter or give him the first few drives, and then you can do whatever the hell you want with Peasley and Martinez. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Neither of them are going to be on the team because we got Jordan Travis. So I could care less at this point. Like, Martinez is fun. I like him, but, let's be real.
JJ, good call. I have no issue if they wanted to play their starters. I think you let Aaron make the decision. Doesn't sound like he wants to play, though. Those were his comments last week, basically saying, I don't need the preseason. Antwan doesn't think Jets are going to play their starters. Like, to me, I would prefer the starters to play a couple drives like last year, but I'm also not going to give you fake outrage if they don't play anyone. They've had 3 joint practices. By the time we get to week 1, they'll have the last one on Wednesday. They've taken more game reps this summer than they have in the past as far as 11-on-11s. That's calculated. So if I was the head coach, I would play my guys for a couple drives, but they think they're good. They're good. In regards to specifically Rodgers, I think you let him decide. If he thinks he needs it, give him a drive or two. That's how I would handle it. What say you, Jet fans? Do you want the starters to play or not? I mean, that's going to be the topic later this week when they make a decision. Salah said today he hasn't decided, and he'll decide after the Giants joint practice. So we'll know then. Tommy says, after years, finally catching you live, smash that like. Wow. I've been doing this for years, Tommy. This is the first show you've caught live. Welcome. Hit the like button for Tommy. Thanks for the support, Tommy. You know what's so cool? Every time I meet listeners in public or at the event on Saturday, most of you say, I love the show. I can never call in. I don't get to see it live. But there's like a misconception that the only people that watch the show are the ones who call. That is 2% of the audience, the ones who call and interact in the chat. It is a very loud 2%. We love them. But shout out to everyone who's not watching live, who just made it through a 90-minute show, because we appreciate your support. Appreciate everyone's support. You guys are awesome. All right, that's going to do it for me. We're back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We will be joined by the author of this book, Ian O'Connor, coming on to talk all things Aaron Rodgers. The book is live tomorrow. So Ian said, I'll give you the first interview with the book out. He's been on our show before, and I look forward to having him on to talk about Rodgers and all things New York Jets. So that is coming up tomorrow at 10. We'll have Sabo at 4 to recap practice. So that is always a good time. Fans are going to be in the house tomorrow, so we'll get some live practice highlights, I'm sure, during that stream in the morning. So check that out if you want more Jet content. Once again, thank you all for the support. You guys are the best. Truly, truly appreciate all the support we get on this channel. It's going to be a fun week, folks. Buckle up. And if you haven't watched it yet, make sure you check out the best of the Jake Asman Show, episode number 6, which is live now for all Asmaniacs on YouTube. Have a good night, everybody. Go Jets. Yeah. See ya.
Jake is the Muffin Man, but Hater is not very good with doing his videos, and he made the Muffin Man kind of look like
You know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man.
Oh my God, Gator is a madman.
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
I didn't even get to ask him on the way out. Any parting words? To be fair, I only play it for half a second, and then I say, no, this is wrong. I have to stop it.
Who is the Muffin Man?
I
Jake.
promised him I wouldn't
Jake.
do it, Jake. Damn it, I promised.
Oh, do you know the Muffin Man?
Why do you think I'm the Muffin Man, Bobby?
Because you look like a muffin head.
The Muffin Man coming in with a super chat saying, great show, everybody. Please, for the love of God, please do not call me the Bobby Man. I will leave.
Do you know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane?
Look, I'm going to turn around.
Keep mooning us. There we go.
No, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
I want to apologize for yesterday. I was trying to show off the name on my jersey, but my desk chair doesn't swivel. So I got up and I showed off my butt.